Hey
How's
Dale,
it
how are
going?
you, man?
G'day, Ian. I'm very well, thanks, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for asking. A week took you away from fishing or something?
Oh, it does look like that, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm just sitting on a lovely park bench by a nice little river, sort of, kind of. Yeah, it's almost like a nice marshland here. I'm living quite regionally at the moment, so I've had to sort of venture a little bit closer to town to get some solid reception. So it's kind of nice. It's got me out into the sun, and it's a beautiful day today. So it's a public holiday, so everyone's out just walking their dogs and whatnot. So yes, the mood is nice.
Oh God, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you very much for taking time out, eh?
Of course.
Obviously, the couple of things we're going to talk about. So I'm Ian. I'm from Hi-Fi Way in Adelaide. I talk about the new album, talk about your tour that's not coming to Adelaide, and just why are you not coming to Adelaide?
Well, I mean, that tour. We just wanted it to be a short weekender run, that we could kind of just give a little bit of a taste of what's to come, but not sort of blow our load, so to speak, on doing the actual album tour. So that was very much just a single release sort of. Yeah, I just call it more of a weekender rather than a tour. So yeah, to all the fans in Adelaide and Perth and worldwide, like definitely there is some proper some proper album touring to come. So yeah, just hold me to that. There definitely will be coming. But for right now, it's just a really nice way to play a few of the new songs and get a feel for it.
Excellent, thank you. And let's talk about the new song, actually. I had to listen to the album in the last day or two. Um, it's Odd World. It's titled Odd World. I read some stuff that you had said and Luke had said, which was that in terms of the recording element, that you just really wanted to just almost kind of get your personality just into these songs and then just let it run free. Um, they're taking that into account. There's a huge, like almost hip hop vibe in there as well as a metal vibe. Like, did you find that there was a struggle trying to get the balance there of one way or another, or?
um, I mean, a little bit of natural struggle is always healthy within that, sort of studio writing context. There's, especially with this album, there were moments where there was all five of us, which we're terming the Odd World Collective. So you have Sam, our drummer and producer, who writes drums, guitar, a lot of melody. So he's very much in the master controller seat. You also have Twiggy and myself who round out the sort of the public image of Ocean Grove. But we also have Matt Kopp, aka Running Touch, who is the sort of was the original guitarist within Ocean Grove. Sort of split off, did his own thing as Running Touch, and has been there all the way along, but sort of somewhat in the background. You sort of see him appear in music videos and things like that, but has always contributed in some form. And then Luke Holmes, our previous frontman vocalist, who's also since taking a step back from the live band, has been there as well, in a writing capacity. And so this album was very much the first time bringing that collective more closer together in the same room than we have in quite some time. And so it's really nice that it represents that more than probably anything else. This is five individuals, all with their own flavors, their own taste. As you said, those hip hop elements are there for some, where they aren't there for others. Whereas the new metal influences are there more heavily for some than they are for others, and it's us all coming from a different angle and finding that sweet spot, that middle point where we can fuse it all together, and we can take the best parts of everything that we're contributing, and not just rely on one songwriter to sort of give this linear approach to one particular sort of style, but rather take one idea and another, fuse them together, and it's just like best idea wins at the end of the day. If we can make it work within one song, you take a song like Raindrop, for instance, and you can kind of see where lyrically and sonically it kind of diverges and goes from one voice to another. And it might not make sense off the bat, but it kind of for us, it does make sense because that's Ocean Grove Manifest. That's like us being us, and you know, putting that collective creation on the table rather than it just be this individual linear approach.
Well, I suppose, like you're going through the band's history. I mean, you've touched on it there as well. That stylistically and personnel wise, there's always been a moving part there. It's always been very, very fluid. Um, I mean, even yourself. I mean, when you started, you were bassist and vocalist.
Mm.
You're the vocalist, right? You know, and now as you mentioned, Luke's come back in a bit more. Well, I say back, but is more prominent in what he does now. I mean, going into that, how did it feel actually? Two parts. One, when you became the vocalist, so you're the main guy. So then in the studio, now you're actually like, oh, I'm sharing it with this guy again. Like, how does that work with you mentally and professionally?
I am very lucky that Luke and I are best friends.
Oh,
Um, that helps a lot. If we weren't, it might be a very different story. But I know that I always have the best intentions and utmost support and love from Luke. He wants nothing but the best for me, and it's always been that from the moment that we traded places. I knew I had massive shoes to fill, but I knew I also had the backing and support of Luke every step of the way, and that's been a really beautiful thing. Is that when I stepped into this role, I knew that I could do it, but I knew that I had a bit of a journey ahead to kind of get my chops up. Not so much as a singer, but as a front man, as an MC, as someone who, you know, you develop those skills of commanding a crowd, and that's not really something that you can fully hone in on when you're, you know, you're behind a guitar, and you're not the one that's speaking to the crowd every night. So when I first started, there was this feeling of excitement, being like, this is this is deep down always what I truly wanted to do. I never saw myself as a guitarist, but always as a singer. It's something, you know, I've been singing since the day I could talk. So singing is at the core of my being. It's my passion. So to sort of step into the frontman role from that perspective was really exciting, and I was brimming with confidence from that side of things. But all the while, I knew that there was that other side to it of, yeah, the sort of the frontman role that really needed a lot of developing. And also, you know, these you know, vocally there is a lot of diversity within the music that Ocean Grove releases. So I knew that although I could sing and hold a note, it's like, you know, there's elements of rap, there's elements of screaming, certain things that I've only either slightly touched on or not touched on at all. And so that was the challenging aspect that I knew that I faced, that was going to take some time. And so over the years, touring and being in the studio, it's been an amazing journey to sort of develop my own skill set, and all the while have the guidance of Luke. He'll be in the studio, and we'll literally have a part that he's written and recorded. And then it's my job to step up to the mic and replicate that as to the best of my ability.
yeah.
And sometimes I listen back to the recordings and I think, like, wow, like that actually sounds so much like Luke, and not in a sense that, you know, to puff myself up, but the only reason it does is because Luke has been there by my side, guiding me in every little, you know, minutia of what I'm doing, and being like, okay, I could see what's going wrong here. Like maybe try it in this sense, and maybe we'll crack the code on your own vocal style. And there'll be these light bulb moments when we're in the studio where I uncover something in my own ability that I never knew I could do, and it wouldn't have been possible without the push and the encouragement and the guidance of Luke all along the way. So I think that's a really important point, to sort of make clear, is that, yeah, I definitely couldn't have done this and delivered what I have on this album, and what I'm now doing on the live stage, if it wasn't for the support and the guidance of Luke.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I've seen you guys a few times live. The last time with Polaris, when the
Yep.
guy broke his leg in the crowd. Oh
Oh,
man,
brutal.
oh, that was
Yeah.
insane. And it
Yeah.
was super hot that night as well. It was like 30 odd degrees in there. It was mental.
Hmm.
But the thing, one of the things that you touch on there, like, when you are live, like I've seen you multiple times, um, it is a reflection of the record, which has to be a reflection then of your personalities because it's just chaotic. It's anarchy, it's energy, it's effervescence, it's multicolors. Um, Capturing that, do you think having somebody like Sam producing, and Sam's obviously worked with yours truly and Void of Vision, do you think like that's his forte that he brings that in, or does he try and take over because he's a producer?
Yeah, Sam's role in all of that is an interesting one. I think he is inclined to, and it's a very important inclination, to find the balance and the middle point between all this chaos. We'll be coming at him from all different angles with all kinds of ideas, trying to think outside the box and do some pretty weird and wacky shit. But it's his job to find that fine middle point between it all, where he can put his production stamp on it and he can hone it in that package that will be digestible. And that's, I think, where we're very lucky to have him at the center of it all, because he's very good at doing it.
Mm.
He's got a very tuned ear to what Ocean Grove is, what Ocean Grove is going to be. And it's really nice to come into a studio setting, being able to present almost any idea, whether it be, electronic, hip hop, metal, rock, grunge, and know that you can give that, whether it's a voice recording or it's a fully fledged demo idea, and Sam can take it and translate in a way that goes, okay, we need to be able to perform this live. It can't just be, for the most part, we have the odd song where it is just forever going to be, the sort of sampley type of thing. But for the most part, we need to be able to perform this live, and two, it not just perform it live, but to match that energy that people have come to know and expect. And as long as it sort of ticks those couple of boxes, it's kind of like play on. We don't really let too much else kind of limit what we're doing. So there's a bit of give and take, and there's always going to be a few yeses and nos, and that's a shit idea, or I love that, or we can't make that work. But for the most part, as long as it sort of can somehow fit in one way or another under the Ocean Grove umbrella, we go for it.
Excellent. Let's talk Del Tanner. So, yeah, don't worry, I do this to everybody. So, right, I try and
Nice.
find, I try and find some dirt or something really random.
Okay. Yep.
And
Love it.
all right, and in your case, I went on Twitter or X, which you
Mm.
yourself don't tend to do an awful lot on. Okay, and if you do, 2024 has all been about Ocean Grove. 2023, though. So this is what I found in 2023. Last year you accused AFL players of selling out because they were doing McDonald's adverts, right? And then a month later, you were going, "Hey AFL, can we play the grand final pre-show?" You know the hypocrisy in that.
I mean, well, I'm not going to McDonald's, so I feel like isn't full hypocrisy. But yes, I get what you're saying. I mean, look, it is one of those give and take things that I don't think we'll ever fully be. I'll never admit to being the most punk band ever, whereby we would refuse, you know, playing the AFL Grand Final just because of something like that. Like we're not maybe that staunch politically as a band. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's always room for a bit of tongue in cheek. And look, it's not just AFL players. I think I do just have to have a laugh sometimes when you see the odd Uber Eats ad or something, and it's just
Yeah.
someone that you never thought would kind of, you know, I guess I won't use the term sink to that level, but it sort of feels like it's on that wavelength of like, oh, okay. But hey, if the money's right, it's a tough world we're living in, and I get it. I get it. So yeah, it doesn't go too deep, but I just love to have a little a little nudge on those points when I can.
Hey, look, we've all got bills to pay. It's either that or
Exactly.
So that or OnlyFans, like
I
full.
know, I know, right? I'm almost feeling ready to do a post on X just saying like, when am I gonna see a hardcore band member raking in millions from OnlyFans and just leading the way. I mean, I saw the Lily Allen thing about the feet, and I'm like, you know what? That's actually that might be a starting trend. What if we all just start uploading photos of our feet and just a massive fu to, you know, the current climate that we're living in that's not really paying musicians what they deserve, and we just take matters into our own hands or our own feet, so to speak.
Well, when talking of like being, I've got two more points about political elements. Again, staying on Twitter, um, why the big question about scrunching toilet paper or folding toilet paper? That was the other one. I was like, this guy's on fire.
Well, I mean, to be honest, that's kind of up there. I don't know if I've done a tweet about this, but like I've had arguments at length with bandmates about top sheet versus no top sheet in a bed.
Mhm.
I just think it's really bizarre to just have to not have a top sheet and just have a doona. That's just me, and I feel like it lines up pretty perfectly with this idea of folding your toilet paper versus scrunching. I just think there's a little bit more effort that goes into having a bit more of a streamlined, comfortable life. And I think if you fold your toilet paper and you have a top sheet, it's not hard to live in the comfort that we have our in this first world sort of luxury that we live in. It's like, why not make the most of it?
I was very John Lennon of you. Uh, the last point now, in all seriousness, now the last point I did see as well that you become an Australian music shirt ambassador this year,
Mm.
alongside the likes of Jenny McDougall, Amy Shark, Jimmy Barnes. What does that mean to you, and how did you get into that?
Yeah, so I'm actually, now we've just come into November. It's Oz Music Month, and the lead up to Oz Music T-shirt Day is beginning once more. And for the third year, I'll be an Oz Music T-shirt Day ambassador. This one touches close to me because Support Act, which is the charity organization that is behind Oz Music T-shirt Day, it's Australia's music industry charity, and they do amazing work supporting musicians, music workers in sort of crisis moments, financial despair, mental health sort of um, support, all these areas that are so important to have an organization there for artists to turn to, especially during kind of lockdown was, I think, where they really came into prominence, was where a lot of music workers and everyone who wasn't able to sort of do their usual gig and careers were sort of put on hold. Um, they were there to really support individuals, including myself, who I sort of got to a point of sort of mental burnout and was in a very low point in terms of my mental health. And they've got a 24-hour hotline. They've got financial sort of grants and support options there for individuals who might need it in any given time, whether that is to receive some mental health support through therapy and rehabilitation or whatever it might be. And so it's really, I think, incredible that we have that resource available to us. Not every country and their artists have something like that, and so we're very lucky to have a support act. And so Oz Music T-shirt Day is all about raising money for Support Act and awareness for Support Act, and also the mental health conversation. And so for an organization that helped me a lot through some of my sort of tougher and darker times in my life, it feels like a no-brainer to sort of pay it forward and give back to an organization that has helped me so much. And so I'm very proud to be an ambassador. It's something that I hope to support and get behind forever, really. As long as it exists, I'll sort of be in their corner. And so, yeah, for me, that's something that I'm really behind. So much so that I'll give a quick shout out to the actual fundraising event that I started last year called Fully Amped. So that's Fully AMTD, which is the initials of Oz Music T-shirt Day. and it's happening again in Melbourne, November 30th. And it is a fully non-profit gig, hopefully festival one day, raising money for Support Act, with all the profits going directly to Support Act, and a fully Australian lineup with a place for people to go, wear their Oz music t-shirts, put some money over the bar, you know, donate some money to the raffle or whatever it is, see some bands play live, and really get amongst that community feel, which is at the core of what that day is all about, celebrating Australian music and also raising awareness and having conversation around mental health. And yeah, bringing light sort of these aspects of community that are so important for the grassroots level of the Australian music industry.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. And my time is up. So thank you very much as well today, Dale.
No worries.
Best of
Thank
luck on
you.
your tour that doesn't go to Adelaide. Best of luck. We'll see. We always do.
Yeah,
Best of the new album out on November 22nd as well. Yeah, we'll see you when you get here soon.
beautiful. Can't wait. Thanks, Ian.